All right, so our lead this hour from Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, yeah. The obligatory Maller monologue on everyone's favorite happy baby yoga quarterback. This hour, the creepy quarterback. Latest information, the NFL is reviewing the new allegation accusing the Browns franchise player, Deshaun Watson, of inappropriate hanky-panky. The assault battery claim, it's a civil lawsuit. Now, we are told the league is not considering placing him on the commissioner's exempt list. There are no formal criminal charges. It is, again, purely a civil case. So the punishment is to have the Browns have to play Deshaun Watson. That would be the punishment. Now, the biggest plot twist, which I had been obsessed with, I spent a good chunk of my day falling down a rabbit hole in the microblogging world. Now, you might know where I'm going with this, but maybe you haven't been paying attention and you don't know where I'm going. So let me allow you to come to my world if you missed it. So now Deshaun Watson not only is accused of being the creepy quarterback times 25, but Watson is now being accused of creating, wait for it, a fake social media account to defend his pathetic play over the weekend. Yes, to defend his pathetic play over the weekend, he has created a social media account. So I was tipped off to this. A radio buddy of mine said, "Hey, I get a text. You're not going to believe this." Anytime I get a text, "You're not going to believe this," I'm like, okay, I'm interested. What happened? Right. So, and then I see the tweets and the comments, and I'm like, okay, so Watson's accused of creating a fake social media account. Internet sleuths believe that ex-user, I love this name, Leroy Bickerstaff, is really Deshaun Watson incognito.
Say what?
Yes, Leroy Bickerstaff. Now, the account has passionately been standing up to the honor of Deshaun Watson to the point where it just does not pass the smell test. So let us discuss the question. Thumbs up or thumbs down to the concept of Deshaun Watson having a burner account on X to defend his honor? So I've got Stealth Bomber, Beach Cruiser, and Billboard. And we will combine all of these things together and speak our mind is what we're going to do. So, number one. Yeah, to answer the question, thumbs up, thumbs down, I'm going two thumbs up is how I'm going to answer this. Now, we did activate the MIB. That's not Men in Black. The MIB is the Maller Investigative Bureau. And the Maller Investigative Bureau, after a minutes-long investigation, we believe it is beyond a reasonable doubt that it is either Deshaun Watson or a relative of Deshaun Watson. The scale is leading towards Deshaun Watson. Now, one thing I have noticed from years on the bully pulpit behind the microphone, sweating over the bright lights of the on-air light, most of these famous people, I say that in air quotes, famous people, are not exactly tough cookies. Some of them pretend to be, right? Some of them pretend to be. But the famous people, a lot of them think they're James Bond with these burner accounts doing undercover work. Spoiler alert, you're not, right? You're not. Now, most of them get exposed. Shout out Kevin Durant. In this case, Deshaun Watson, I'm convinced, based on the comments that were posted from the account from Leroy Bickerstaff. So good. I am convinced that Watson thought he was flying a stealth bomber, that no one would be able to figure out that this was Deshaun Watson, and yet he actually was flying around in a Goodyear blimp advertising that he was Deshaun Watson. Like this account based on my investigation, the Maller Investigative Bureau, this had all the telltale signs. Now, let me give you my evidence. I'm going to make my elevator pitch to you, and then you can tell me whether or not you believe the case. All right, so I'm going to give you the evidence. You're the judge. You decide. So the first thing that stood out like a throbbing thumb, it was a fresh account. The account was started this month. Here, we're in the month of September 2024. So it's a brand new account. The first activity was on Sunday, right after the Browns were punched in the solar plexus by the Dallas Cowboys. So no effort to hide it, no effort to camouflage it. And then you look at the name, Leroy Bickerstaff. If you were to come up with a name, let's come up with a burner account. I don't know what name. Why don't we use the last name of the old Cavaliers coach, Bickerstaff, and then we'll just throw Leroy in there, and no one will know who that is. Now, one agenda, one trick pony here, or one pose, the happy baby yoga pose. Well, in Deshaun Watson lingo. So the only effort of the account has been to post comments the Sunday hours after, and really shortly after the Browns-Cowboys game, and then on Monday, defending Deshaun Watson. Now, NFL teams have Tuesday off. There was no content. I didn't see anything on Tuesday, so he probably forgot about it because he was out doing stuff. But the account, among other things, blamed the offensive line. Browns had some guys out. He blamed the offensive line, blamed the play calling, which is the head coach, Kevin Stefanski, who's running the offense there. And the account, the Leroy Bickerstaff account, claimed that those things are holding number 4 back from his greatness. The franchise making one of the all-time greats look bad was another post. Now, we know that Watson is thin-skinned. And we know this from firsthand experience. If you're new to the show, there is a past. Before Deshaun Watson was the creepy quarterback, he was an Eagle Scout. He was beloved by everybody when he played at Clemson. He's also very thin-skinned. And we had a back and forth based on some comments that were made on this show that were repeated on social media. And Watson searched his name. He came across my name. We then got into a rhubarb before he was in the NFL with the Houston Texans, in between the time he was at Clemson and going to the Texans, as I remember it. So things that make you go, it's unmistakable. Right? Thin-skinned guy. No one's defending Watson. Why would you? And all of a sudden he's like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I can't do this on my own account, so I'm going to make a burner account, and no one will ever know. No one will ever know. All right, now page 2. Give me your reaction to the NFL's response to Deshaun Watson's latest legal rhubarb. So the NFL's response here was a shoulder shrug. I don't know. To say they are extremely cautious, a slight understatement. For years, the NFL ruled with an iron fist, and now they have done a 180. They've gone the opposite direction. Now, forget about the Autobahn. They are driving a beach cruiser, not an electric beach cruiser. They're driving a beach cruiser with a flat tire, enjoying a lazy Sunday drive. And they're blocking traffic and all that, just waiting for Watson to pay more hush money, and then they can get back to siphoning money from you and me and all the different NFL products that they have there that you must pay. You must pay for. All right, now, final point. There is a Deshaun Watson conspiracy theory aside from the burner account that is making the rounds. Several of you sent this to me. It goes something like this, that the Cleveland football team let the cat out of the bag. Let the cat out of the bag on the latest lawsuit in order to facilitate the eject button, to hit the eject button on the Deshaun Watson contract. Do you buy the Browns leaking the latest Deshaun Watson lawsuit in a strategic move to weaponize the lawsuit? So I looked this over, and I see no evidence of this. I was kind of hoping that would be true because it would actually make the Browns look pretty good, but I don't see that. And the main reason I don't see that is because of the roadside billboard The head of the snake involved in this latest lawsuit is an old friend. Now, I don't know this guy in real life, but he's provided me a lot of content over the years. Your favorite billboard ambulance-chasing lawyer, better known as Tony Busby, a prominent and boisterous, over-the-top Houston attorney, right out of central casting for a bigger-than-life Texas attorney, who is representing the latest accuser. He's represented almost all of the other women that accused Deshaun Watson of inappropriate activity. He's also a former Houston mayoral candidate who once put up billboards around Houston so the Texans would draft Johnny Manziel. That did not work out. So this guy's a legendary attention whore who does have an addiction problem. He's addicted to the microphone, the camera, and the bright lights. He's never met a camera that he didn't like, to my knowledge. He's also got this megaphone, and he's out there. He's always barking quotes and all that. The other element to this story, the reason not to believe that the Browns were the ones that leaked the story, not only do you have Tony Busby, this bigger-than-life attorney, but you also have Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, and his toadies, who appear to be completely clueless. So, despite that, I do believe the Brownies are not upset the story is out. They'd like the NFL to do something. They didn't throw the latest giant mud ball, but they're not against it. They're like, well, it kind of helps us out. And it's like they didn't really have a problem with the other 24 cases. But this one, this is the straw that broke the camel's back.